Get to the chopper now! At this point, I'm kind of addicted of buying all of these very, very cheap little RC cars. And you know, these are not for everyone, but the reason I actually love to pick them up is just to check it out how it is with the technology wise. So this particular model comes with 2.4 gigahertz, and this is not a common thing. They're still using some old technology with some of these Lamborghini devices. So it's a full function. I paid like $8.99 for it and some 1.24 scale little tiny Lamborghini. But when it comes to these particular devices, I must say where this is actually a licensed product for such a small amount of money. I think when it comes to these tiny RCs, they are absolutely fun indoors. And I would not say that I'm going to be putting this on a racetrack later on, because this is one of those, let's say, fun, let's say, beginners RC cars. If you just want to get into RC but don't want to spend a lot of money, you can actually get these things for really cheap. And some of them can be very fun. However, I did notice throughout testing a lot of these devices is that we do have a lot of differences. I mean, differences not like in the way how they look, but the way how they actually operate. So let's see, we're going to be having the manual over here. So this is actually the company Gear2Play. I've been reviewing tons of different RC products because this is a massive company, or at least they have like a lot of different RC products, also drones and everything. It's absolutely insane. So everywhere I'm looking, they keep popping up when it comes to, let's say, different kind of stores here in my country. I do wonder how it is with different countries. Do Gear2Play also sell there? Yeah, when it comes to these products, they're of course made in China. And you know, that's the reason I think they're like that cheap. However, when you're going to be looking at the way how the details are, and I must say that the details of the Lamborghini is pretty decent. So the overall, let's say, details, of course you cannot expect like model size overall configurations, but I think when you're going to be looking at this, yeah, there still has like a full motion. The overall, let's say, pieces are made out of plastic, but of course, one of the things you will find with a lot of these budget RC car solutions, we can adjust the front tires if this thing is a little bit crooked, if you're going to be driving it. But giving you an up close, you can actually see how freaking detailed this thing is. So the rims are kind of cool looking. There is a little bit of suspension in here, but nothing much. So we do have even some rear mirrors, but everything is of course made out of plastic. There's even a look into the engine itself, having like the carbon look. Yeah, the hood and also the spoiler. So the overall details, I must say that I am kind of flabbergasted with that. So one of the things I also noticed nowadays that we do have these micro switch radio controlled. And you know, it's not like a super bad thing, but for me the old school days were absolutely legendary, having like a full motion, or at least like full motion device, but also having a non-micro switch joystick. I'm guessing this is like a super cheap way to actually make these things. But also when going to be into, let's say, looking into some different stores, and even if you're getting into price range of 30, 40 bucks, still having the same kind of remote, maybe a little bit bigger, but the overall technology is the same. They were just going to be using a couple of batteries, depending on the model. And you know, when it comes to the RC car, I've noticed that you actually do need to use good overall batteries to get like some overall good performance. If you're going to be using rechargeable, that is not recommendable. You're not going to be having the fast power that you're normally having with some of them. But again, like also with a difference, what kind of, let's say, RC cars we're actually having. Because when you're going to be looking into the RC cars, some of them are so slow, it doesn't even matter what kind of batteries you're going to be putting in there when it comes to the overall acceleration. But again, so let's put the batteries in. And let's have some fun with it, because when it comes to RC, you know, first let's check it out. So connecting is super easy. You just turn on the remote and then the car itself, and that's it. Like, it's automatically configured. And I am guessing, but that is something you should try in the future. So if you're going to be having multiple of these devices, or at least the RC cars, it will automatically connect to the certain RC car. If you can switch out the remotes, that is something, that's another fun thing to actually check out. But beside that, the acceleration is pretty fast. It's like super top notch. I have seen some of those, let's say, RC cars and making a freaking wheelie when actually accelerating. So the tires are made of these very soft rubber. So the downside to this is, if you're going to be using this thing on the ground, you will see that they get a little bit filthy over time, so you need to clean them up. But they will give you an extra grip. What you can actually see if you're going to be accelerating, I have like a very smooth table, and yeah, this works pretty well. So you do have like a little bit, I wouldn't say like input delay, but this has to do because of the travel and the micro switch click, but this is like a common thing with these. You need to get used to it. So I also wanted to check it out. Okay, so let's double check. So I did notice that this non-like was the fastest Lamborghini RC car I've ever tested. Some of them were like making freaking wheelies. So I'm actually using those Action Batteries A4s. I checked out the test and they were seems to be like a very good value. We also have the gold Panasonic. They're pretty good too. And I did have some problems in the past with some RC cars, so that's the reason I have like a multiple set. But at this point I don't really actually notice anything when it comes to the speed. So yeah, this is one of the things you can always just check out for yourself. But you know, this is what we're getting. I think this is one of the, I won't say any downside, but this thing is a Lamborghini but doesn't look that fast. So let's move to the ground, so have a little bit more area to race on. And this is actually the speed. I think it's really enjoyable, and I think this is why this is just such a great overall RC car to begin with. And the size of these things are pretty cool. So the space I'm actually using in my studio is not perfect, but when you're going to be using, like say, a living room, you can just like make a track for yourself with some chairs and everything. And if you're going to be having multiple of these devices, you can just race with friends and family, and this is going to be absolutely a lot of fun. If it gets stuck, as you can see over here, yeah, this is something that will happen. So yep, this is like great over obstacles. You can see like it's just bashing into it now. So this is like pure for smooth surface. So that's one thing you need to take consideration. But let's give this thing a little bit of a spin over here. And the overall, let's say, distance it has or needs actually to make a U-turn, it's not bad itself. So yeah, with a small space we can actually do some really cool racing. So with the conclusion, we can actually say, for this particular amount of money you're paying for these tiny devices, is absolutely an amazing time that we're living in. I do wonder how far we can push it when it comes to speed and everything, different models, and are like really bad ones out there. So this Gear2Play version is a pretty fun thing to check out. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of these cheap RC cars? Do you think they're fun, or do you want to get something better?